are going to be recording this call. So please, I hope we are all fine with it. So without further ado, we'll get straight into our plan for today. So first things we like to do is establish the ground rules. So please, I can see everyone has muted their microphones. The extra thing we'd like to say is, please introduce yourself in the chat box, and also all communication should be done with respect. Like I said earlier, my name is Georgette Udor, and I am Design and Technical Coordinator of Green. I am from Nigeria, and please feel free to share in the chat where you're from. I'd like to see and also read out people, because one thing I like to do is interact and meet with new people. I'm excited that so far Green has been touring Africa, and today we are in Mozambique, and I'm hoping for greater and more exploits from Mozambique today. So the next thing on our agenda is our webinar agenda. So first things we are doing today is introduction. Then we'll have our interactive session, which is how best to know Africa. Follow that up by hearing from our speaker, and we'll have questions and answer sessions before we move on. I can see in the chat people are introducing themselves. Thank you. Hi, Rock from Benin, and hi, Moise from Mozambique. So next slide. I'd like to introduce Green. Green is an organization poised at empowering Africans with knowledge. So one of the things we look forward to in this knowledge sharing exposition is more of how can we combat climate change, energy transition, and how best we can share this knowledge in a very easy and capable way. Our vision is to build a community and network of like-minded individuals and organizations that are willing and ready to combat climate change and also improve sustainability and, if possible, combat the energy access problem in Africa. So with this vision we have, in order to achieve this, we just looked at what ways we can do this. So the first thing we noticed that was lacking was knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge gap amongst Africans for Africa. So in order for us to combat climate change, we mostly look to the Western world to learn from them and see how best we can change things. But we've also got to realize that in our continent, there are some wonderful countries that are doing great things and are very tailored solutions. And one thing we have is they said together we are stronger. So if we learn from each other and practice these things together, we'd be able to combat this change in an easy way. So that's what we are looking at. And so far, since February this year, we've been able to conquer 38 out of the 54 West African countries, and we are looking forward to combating all of them before the end of the year. So these are the three faces behind Green. So we have Mary Dora Kamara, who is our programs coordinator. We have Aisha Suleiman, who is our communications and partnership coordinator, and myself, who is the design and technical coordinator. And thank you all for joining in. So without further ado, we would like you to just scan the barcode on the screen, and I will drop a link in the chat box that will take you to Mentimeter so we can learn and see how best to know Africa. And if you joined early, you would have seen the map of Africa, and there you would have seen where some of our questions are. So if you're a fast finger, let's get there. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Okay, I can see some people are already active and started picking the capital city. So our first question for today is, what is the capital city of Mozambique? Is it Maputo? Is it Harare? Or is it Antananarivo?
It's Maputo.
Okay, thank you very much for answering. And yes, the correct answer is Maputo. I would also like you to also be participating in this by clicking on the link so we can all see it together. So the next question is, which of these countries do not share borders with Mozambique? Is it Tanzania? Is it Malawi? Is it Eswatini or Kenya?
Kenya.
It's Kenya.
Okay, you're selling it out so others will not learn from this. But okay, would also like you to just also click on the link and we can all share in this together. So the correct answer is Kenya. So Mozambique shares borders with a lot of countries. So Tanzania, Malawi are one of them. So that's to show you where Mozambique is in Africa. It's not in north, it's not in the west. It's towards the east and southern part of Africa. So our final question for today is Mozambique is majorly known for which river that runs through it? Is it Limpopo, Zambezi, or Nile River?
It's a Limpopo.
Okay. Unfortunately, the answer is wrong. The answer is correct. I just wanted to play with you a little. So let's see the next question. And I think we are almost done for today. So the final question is, which of the following is one of Mozambique's largest exports? Is it diamonds? Is it coffee? Is it natural gas? Or is it coal?
It's natural gas.
Okay, so thank you everyone so much for participating in this. And we can see we've learned more about Africa. And we would now go ahead, proceed to the next thing, that is to introduce our guest. So let me quickly share my screen to introduce our lovely guest for today. So before we get to introducing our guest, we are currently at 38 countries. So we have the following countries that we are currently looking for speakers to be a part of MAGRIN. So you being here today, we are grateful for coming, but would also like to know if you have people within your network or you'd like to nominate someone from any of these countries to speak on climate change and energy transition for their countries. We'll be happy to hear you. You can either reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, or you can write it in the chat or reach out to us on our emails too. We'll be grateful to hear your suggestions. And finally, today we have Moise Jose Alfere from Mozambique. He is an agricultural engineer with a focus on environmental education and smart agriculture. He has a deep commitment to farming practices, and he has dedicated his career to promoting innovative agricultural solutions, which is really exciting for us, as this is something we all face in our countries, because agriculture is the bedrock of every community, because we have to eat. There's no way you go for a long period of time without eating. So without further introductions, I know he'll do a much better introduction than I have just done, because his expertise is in climate smart agriculture, and he has much more information for us, and we're going to learn so much from him today. I would now open the floor to Moise. You have the floor now. Can you hear me, Moses?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moises Alferish. Today, we're going to talk about the effect of climate change, current energy landscape, and potential solution in Mozambique. So, unfortunately, I'm facing problem to share my PowerPoint with you all. So, okay, thanks. Thanks, Margaret. So, we're going to talk about the effect of climate change, current energy landscape, and potential solution in Mozambique. I said my name is Moises Alferish, so I'm from Mozambique and I'm Mozambican. Let's move on. Okay, Mozambique has a population of approximately 33 million of people. So most of these people are living in 6 types of people, and others are living in urban areas. So they represent 34 percenters. uh, about electric access. In rural areas, the most of common light source include kerosene lamp with 20%, solar energy. This is a clean energy, so it's lower. It's a 17%. Candle, it's 12%. Lantern and battery with 6%. So in rural area, we have 44 people. They are not using a light, so they don't have access of light, even clean energy or hydroelectric energy. They don't have access. But in urban areas, the hydroelectric energy is the most common source light, and they represent 65%, followed by candle with 7%, kerosene 7%, solar energy 6%, and other form like a fire and other things, it's only 7%. But in rural area, we have 5% of most of people. They don't have access of light. So what I would like to say in that slide, it's like in Mozambique, we are using less solar energy, wind energy. Okay, let's move in. Clean energy. Approximately 1950% of Mozambican households are using rail or biomass energy for cooking. According to 22 Fine Scope survey, the most of common food technology of cooking are firewoods, and represent 65% of adult population. Charcoal with 22, hydroelectric is a minimum 8%, liquefied gas 3%, solar energy 1%, kilos, and prevent generator is 1%. So what I would like to talk here is like a hydroelectric energy. It's a common usage for light, but for cooking, it's very expensive. That's why people are using biomass, are using a firewood. So this is making deforestation in this country. We are suffering too much with climate change because people are cutting trees to making a charcoal to sell and to use it to cook. Let's move on. Energy production and consumption. Hydroelectric power basa is dominant electric source, providing 2,189 megawatts, which account with 60-80% of total energy mix in this country. In this, Kawara Basa is followed by a gas energy with 16%, and we have fuel oil 4%, and we have low percent of solar energy, just represent 2% in total energy in this country. So we see like we have this opportunity to invest in this country using solar energy, because we are just exploring 2%. Let's move in. Net zero target policy and energy transition. The energy transition in Mozambique is crucial for both sustainable development, and this role is regional and global geopolitics. I think in all us know, like the transition of energy is facing all the nations. All the nations are thinking, are adopting to use clean energy less than fossil energy. So we need to explore renewable energy. It's a position itself and a significant player in global members, global gas market, I said. The solar energy represents a considerable opportunity for Mozambique. For approximately in our country, we receive 2,100 hours of sunlight annually. So we are just exploring these hours with just 2%. So we need to invest, we need to adopt forms to get energy from the solar energy. And additional, the country has substantial wind energy potential along its coastline. We have a big coastline with a wind, so we are not exploring this wind to produce energy. This is another opportunity to invest in turbines, in wind turbines to produce energy. The Kaurabas Dam is one of largest, which generates over 16,000 gigawatts per hour. But we must increase investment in solar panels and wind turbines to harness clean energy in this country. Let's move in. The energy transition is shaped by various social and demographic factors, necessitating in investing in infrastructure and education. So by the G7 commitment, the commitment to invest $16 billion by 2013. This money, they were able to invest in infrastructure and a potential sustainable energy and growth. So these developments create opportunities for both public and private sector in Mozambique, fostering for a favorable environment for foreign investment through effective risk mitigate and strategy to produce a clean energy in this country. So to minimize environment impact, we should reduce reliance on fossil fuel powered cars and industry machines or industry engines. And instead, we can embrace electric vehicle, solar panels, and energy storage system like battery and panel. So this is the opportunity to invest. I think like the politics of this country are open, are able to receive this investment because our country need, because most of people of this country are living in the rural area, so they don't have access of energy. Let's move. The energy transition for fossil fuels to renewable must address energy security and economic growth, as emphasized at recent conference in Pemba, where they're exploring is gas. So a comprehensive energy strategy is needed to align Mozambique resource with net zero goals. Policy should reflect local realities involving citizens, especially from gas-rich areas. We need to make discussions with people and to put them on mind. Like we need to transition to get to facing these net zero goals, because it's most important. We are allocated with a coastline, so we are facing with climate change. I think like it's time to change. It's time to revert these scenarios. Revenue from natural gas exploration should fund development and clean energy initiatives, benefiting communities in the region like Cabo Delgado and Inhambane, where explored gas. So despite approximately to large gas reserve, energy access in Pemba remains is limited until now. Civil society participation is crucial, as energy transition is a human rights issue. The UK aims to support Mozambique is securing climate change financing. So overall, exchanging awareness of the energy transition and promoting energy is diversification is essential to grow this country and to grow our nation, to grow with this clean energy. So thanks a lot. This is was I prepared to share with all them. Now I'm open to answer, or I'm open to question, and I will give answers as possible.
Thank you so much, Moses. This was a wonderful presentation. I've learned a lot from your presentation. And yes, indeed, people have questions. So I'll take the first one from the chat. So the person is answering, Sego Di Darius is asking, in Mozambique, we have many cattle producers and they can use manure to produce biogas. What are the constraints for not using it?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Darioteya. We have most of cattle in this country, so we have less technology. We have low technology to produce a biogas. So I was doing research to know when the people are trying to use or to produce biogas from biomass, from cattle. So I find like it's low percent, it's insignificant percent. So that's why it's an opportunity to produce biogas from the cattle.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sergio. I hope that answers the question. And a follow-up question would be, you talked about having a climate technology-based agricultural system that you're developing. Can you please share a bit more about that?
Sorry, I didn't understand, please.
Okay, in your bio, you spoke about having a climate tech agriculture, that you're trying to do an agricultural system that can withstand the climate changes that are occurring, especially in Mozambique. Can you please tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay. In Mozambique, about climate change, uh, we are doing some initiatives like planting mangrove in coast zones. We are trying to how can I say, it's to communicate with local communities to implement a agroforest system, because we in this country we are using agriculture of subsistence just to produce food. They are only produce one culture in their land, in their soil. So we need to multiply the culture and the trees or the animals to get all cycle in production.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. That's really good when we are talking about afforestation and trying to plant more to at least suck more CO2 from the environment. The other question would be about the one of your slides. You mentioned that education plays an important role in combating this climate change. Could you please explain if the government is doing anything currently about educating people on climate change?
Okay, thanks. Our government, I would like to share, like in our schools or our general school, they don't have this type of education. We have this education, and starting from grade 5, 6, 7. So I think like it's later, it's so long. I think like it's best to teach the children to combat the climate change. We need to teach the children even to grade 1. If they grow with knowing we need to save our nation, we need to plant the trees as the children. If they grow knowing how to combat climate change in our society. The government are doing, but most of effort, most of education are doing with national spark. like Gorongosa National Parks, Chimanimani National Park, in other national park, they are doing this this type of education, but it's not including all of the country. It's just only where they have a national parks.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Sager, you have the floor now. I think you have a question. Your hand is raised.
Hello, everybody. So I would like to add it to Mr. Moses. The last point he was talking about, all of our national park have a teach to our community how to, can say, how can control the climate change. You know, for example, in Gorongosa National Park, they have some, how can say, some a little school. They teach the child the materials like how they can improve uh, change climate. So right now they have how can say they have like a goals. Those goals involve the community, involve government, you know, and each other they are promote some activity in Serra de Gorongosa, you know. They have planted coffee, they have some project like to capture carbon and then uh, plant some coffee trees, things like that to control that climate change.
Okay, thank you so much, Ego, for that further information. I really appreciate it. You really had a way of explaining more about it, and it's really good to learn that what Mozambique is doing, and that's really good learning more from it. Please, does anyone have any further questions? Okay, if no further questions, I would like to specially thank Mr. Moses for this wonderful presentation he gave us today. It was really insightful and we are really grateful for it. And thank you everyone for taking our time to join today. It was a pleasure learning more about Mozambique and also what they are currently doing in the country. So it's one of the few countries I've heard that they are teaching children at a very young age about climate change. So that's really good. And thumbs up Mozambique. And we're hoping to hear good things from you moving forward. So without further ado, we would like to say thank you to everyone for joining. And also please feel free to follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. You can also reach out to us if you have any further questions, any follow-ups, or any other thing. If you want to also recommend people to us from these countries, we are happy to hear from you and also follow up on them so we can have more speakers and learn more about what is going on in Africa. And on behalf of my Green team, we would like to say a big thank you for sparing your day to spend it with us and learn more about Africa, climate change, and energy transition. Thank you so much once again to our speaker and to everyone for joining. Have a wonderful weekend.